We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Well, this afternoon, NPP flagbearer hopeful and former Minister of Agriculture Bryan Acheampong turned to the church for divine guidance as he readies to officially declare his presidential bid. His close aides hinted that the much-anticipated announcement could come within the next 10 days. As supporters await the big moment, the leadership of the Presbyterian Church has offered prayers in support of his ambition. This move comes barely 24 hours after Dr. Bawumia rallied over 200 former MMDCs in a major push for the same flag bearership slot, setting the stage for a heated contest within the NPP, as other aspirants have also intensified their campaigns across the country. We'll be back to delve into this further, but first, watch this, the moment where prayers were offered on his behalf.
Your own, for thine is the kingdom, yes, the power, and the glory. Forever and ever. No one shares the glory with you. You created your world and made humanity in your own image and gave humanity power and authority to care for your creation. It is in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Go according to the courage and vision that the Lord has placed in you, and do it. God be your helper. Amen.
Amen.
It's a good time to cross over to my colleague, Ken Jesse, who is on this beat for us. Ken, this prayer session, is this a subtle endorsement of Bryan Acheampong by the Presbyterian Church?
Bryan Acheampong's mayor he attends, and he also said that he went to the Presbyterian boys' school. So this is a symbolism, really, that this is my church, and I'm here to formally inform you that I'm contesting. And of course, after that, prayers were offered to Bryan Acheampong. He formally declared that he is contesting for the flag bearer position of the new Patriotic Party. Well, you remember weeks ago, he came out to say that he has formed an exploratory committee to assess whether or not he should contest, after he said that he had received several calls from members within the party to consider contesting. So he has finally declared that he is going to contest the flag bearer position of the new Patriotic Party, which comes off on the 31st of January. So these prayers were just symbolic that he says he's a member, a devout member of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, and he wanted to formally inform the church of his intention and decision to contest for the flag bearer position of the new Patriotic Party before making it public. So really, you saw the moderator of the Presbyterian Church and other leaders of the church offering prayers.
Ken, you've also been engaging Bryan Acheampong himself. What has he been saying?
A gesture being offered by the committee that... Hello, Faustina?
I can hear you, Ken, loud and clear. You've been engaging Bryan Acheampong. What exactly has he been saying?
Well, Bryan Acheampong says the findings of his exploratory committee setup is out, and he said that the findings pointed that the new Patriotic Party needed a new that was only a fresh race. And upon sober reflection on those findings, he believes that he is the right person to build a new Patriotic Party.
But then we heard from Dr. Adubaku Kese just yesterday.
And offered himself as a potential candidate to lead the new Patriotic Party in the new...
Oh dear, our connection to Kenneth doesn't seem quite favorable, but let's listen to Bryan Acheampong himself. We'll be back to engage Kenneth Jesse further.
I am a product of the church, servant of the church. A month ago, I set up an exploratory committee. A week ago, they brought home their report. We've reviewed the report. Largely aligns with what I set out. There were a few things that I also have to align with the party and then with the aspirations of the country. But as said, the important point is that the conclusion of the report suggested that there was a need to have a different candidate that can galvanize the party, unite the party. There was also a need for that candidate to be able to demonstrate and give hope to the young people of this country that through their vision they're able to create jobs for the youth of the country, provide security, and revamp the infrastructure of this country. And so with that said, the decision has been made that I will contest when the party opens nominations, but to do that as a product of the church. It will be a disappointment in my tradition for the moderator of the church or the Presbyterian General Council hears it for the first time already. So before a formal announcement is made, I thought it wise to come and inform the General Council and the moderator of the Presbyterian Church that this is what I have set out to do. And so when they hear the announcement, then that is it. But most importantly,
you heard that Bryan Acheampong. Now let me bring in Kenneth Jesse. I have better connection to him now. He's joining this time via phone. Kenneth, who exactly did you see on the grounds that is already pledging allegiance to Bryan Acheampong?
We have former MPs Dixon Kusi, and also
Hello, Kenneth. Oh dear, it appears that
so he and Dixon, former to the parliament, were the most notable people that we saw there flanking him. They were part of that exploratory committee.
Kenneth, still your connection is poor and I'm struggling to make out what exactly you're saying. If you could just position rightly and try once more as we look at some of the key individuals who are already pledging allegiance to Bryan Acheampong. Once we get better connection to you, Kenneth, I'll come back to you. But let me bring in political analyst Asa Asante just to get a sense of his thoughts of what is happening in the party. So far, we have heard from the camp of Bryan Acheampong, Kennedy Acheampong, Dr. Baumia, as well as Edichum, all signaling their interest in the flag bearership race. I'm sure it's going to be a heated contest. From where you sit, what are your chances, really?
I think, Sarah, is a very interesting development. It's unfortunate that the rules that the party set, they have allowed certain individuals to allow them. But that aside, it's their own problem. They will deal with that because there's no point setting rules and you allow it to be undermined. Then it gives people the courage to take the conversation to another level. That said, the contest is going to be interesting. Now that I've started visiting churches, MDAs are also paying homage to some of the contestants, and people are now moving heaven and earth to get support. It's interesting because, the name of the game is what numbers. It's number game. So those with the numbers are able to galvanize a lot of support and use it to their advantage. But you and I know that it's not just the number, but those who have the political authority to elect the leaders. That is one. And then who are the leaders that they want? It doesn't matter whether somebody visits a church, MPs visit place that supports him or not. What matters is that the person that they are rooting for is knowledgeable related to the problems that we have in this country, that has what it to be able to address them if the mantle falls on him or her. 2, is the person marketable? Can he or she stand toe to toe with any person from any political quarter to contest for election and win for his party? Of course, this also dovetails into the popularity of that individual. Is the individual popular to have a lot of following who will sway the vote in one direction for him? And of course, we also want somebody who is experienced, who will lead the party, and he has the magic one to turn things around based on his wealth of experience. And above all, the person must have record, not necessarily in government, where you have worked privately or where you have engaged yourself outside the political realm. That record is necessary because people want to see if you are giving the whole opportunity of the state to govern. Can you have any expertise or any knowledge or background that can be brought to light on the matter that confronted? And these are the people that voters want to vote for. But now, they will continue to undertake group trotting, going to shrines, churches, and all that. By the end of the day, it is those who have the power to lead in the votes and to, vote on that day are those who cause the biggest upset. But for now, it is just one of the process. And they are gingering up their bases and all that. But the real political power lies the delegates who have the power to decide in one direction.
And that brings me to my next question. You say that is a numbers game, and indeed power resides in the hands of the delegate. But over the years, the term fear delegates have taught us that the delegates tend to sway towards individuals that have more cash on their hands. Looking at what the party seeks to achieve in the year 2028, let's take it candidate by candidate. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, what exactly does it bring on board?
Bawumia, there's no doubt in my mind that he's a fine scholar, knowledgeable, he knows the subject. It's unfortunate that during his tenure, we didn't see much of him in terms of his knowledge that one would have thought that it would be brought to bear on the economic situation at the time. But when he was in office, events took a different turn, and as if he was outside the economic realm. That was unfortunate. If you also look at him, in spite of all the strength I've said, is it the case that the voters are forgiving him his sins by the loss, the gargantuan margin of loss that he suffered in the last election, that they want to also repose their confidence in him for the second one? He needs to be able to do so session and to be able to step in the plate and step forward to contest. Because from where I sit, it's a very difficult battle because for him, the last election, the results went so negative against him. So one would have thought that he would have taken some, time off to reflect on all these, including some homework, so that he can appeal to the people one more time. But hey, he also has the right to contest and see what happens. If you look at Bryan Acheampong, he has been one of the faithful servants of the party. He has worked his heart and mind out for his party, stand for them in all times. For this race, he is a beginner in the race, but he's not a minnow. But the issue is that as to whether people will decide to give him the vote is another. Because from where I sit, I don't see his strong areas that he has been showing. Of course, he comes from Eastern region, so you can see support in there. But as to whether he's a towering personality to be able to stand neck to neck with the giants within the party, that's another thing. But I have no doubt in my mind that he's a fine gentleman and he has a very unblemished record. You look at Kennedy Acheampong, very, very affable. He has all the qualities, and of course, we also know his weakness and all that. But if you look at it, the last election primaries, the kind of performance he put up against the establishment candidates, you realize that this year, where there's no establishment candidates, you can see the mess in Kennedy Acheampong. He will fire on all cylinders and make sure that he comes first. But as to whether he will be able to win the election is also that is the difficult battle for all of them. But I can tell you that Kennedy is a man to watch, and then he has a lot of things that really move and shake the foundation of the party. I have no doubt in my mind, even though I concede that he has certain weaknesses that he needs to work on and all that. And those things will find expression in the election. If you look at Dr. Duchum, fine gentleman, he demonstrated his prowess when given opportunity to serve in education ministry. At a point in time, he was the household name of every section of the Ghanaian society because of a lot of programs that he introduced and all that. But as whether he is that strong enough to be able to contest the election, because the last primary, you saw that he didn't have very strong showing, you know, but giving his impeccable records, his credentials and all that, the contest promises to be very interesting, and he can also move through the process. I've not heard of Bryan Acheampong, another fine gentleman, very well experienced, and he has the oratory skills. He is knowledgeable, and he has had his eyes on the ball for a very long time. And I don't know whether he will contest, but if he will contest, that's another fine gentleman that the public can also engage and have meaningful conversation. Bryan Acheampong, yes, is one of the pillars within the party in terms of gravity, in terms of knowledge, experience. He has. And I can say without fear of contradiction that he has over and above a lot of the people who want to contest. And if you look at the last election, even though it didn't go down well in the primaries within the NPP for him, but Bryan Acheampong, fine gentleman, and he has a very clean record and wealth of experience. And at this time, the party needs people with experience. We need people with tact. We need people with gravitas, and people who have the courage to stand on their foot and then tell people in their face that this is not the way to go. Bryan Acheampong has that.
Doc, stay with me. I'll come back to you just to get your thoughts on something that has been bugging my mind. It's one thing to lead the party, it's another thing to capture power. And so we'll get into the dynamics of that and how exactly they can go about it. But let me bring in someone from Bryan Acheampong's camp, Andy Apiakubi. You saw him in that video standing behind Bryan Acheampong. It's beginning to make sense now where he is, and he's joining us live here on The Pulse. We've just heard from your candidate signaling his readiness to hit the ground running. We've heard from him tell us that he's given us a timeline within the next 10 days. He would officially declare. What's your campaign strategy?
The campaign strategy, as outlined by our affable Dr. Bryan Acheampong, has been to consult with leadership of the party, leadership of the country, the clergy, and also other stakeholders. That is what he has done in the last few weeks. After commissioning the research team, the research team have also submitted their report to him, and there is every indication that there is favorable responses from the consultations that was undertaken, and that he is making up his mind to contest. And today, in fact, I listened to him today as he granted the interview after his consultation with his Presbyterian Church, which he is a member, and went for prayers and also for direction from God. And after the interaction with the Presbyterian Church, he declared that he will contest the upcoming election. And the strategy has always been to consult, mobilize support, also contact interest groups, and also leaders of various institutions and indeed the chieftain's institution and the clergy, and we are still going to consult all such institutions and seeking their support and their direction.
But your client, and I would say Dr. Bryan, is quite green when it comes to the flag bearership race. He's going against Dr. Bawumia, who has been vice president, led the party and lost the previous election, was also the face of the party's thank you tour, and he's going against some key contenders like Bryan Acheampong, who has been in the race before, and we saw his following in the past. What difference is he bringing on board to sway delegates on his side?
I wish you didn't say he's green in politics. Dr. Bryan Acheampong has been a four-term member of parliament.
Yeah, he's green when it comes to the flag bearership race.
Yes, but there is always a first time. And we garner experience from the spectrum of political activities in the country, not only in the context of flag bearership. And therefore, if we are talking about experience in politics, I am sure that the names you have mentioned will not come close to him. Because just contesting in one particular election doesn't give you the experience that he has, having contested on 4 different occasions to qualify to parliament. So I don't buy your prescription of green in politics. I think that he has the requisite experience, the knowledge, and the network in politics for him to be able to succeed. We will be very happy if other people will consider him as a novice in politics. They will also package the surprises for them. So if that is the feeling of other contestants, we will be happy and we will enjoy our status and use the platform that we have to win against all such complacent feelings.
But how do you plan to win the delegates on your side? Because this is a numbers game, and the delegates are the ones with the power to decide. They've already been meeting different groups, and your contender is already a little bit late in declaring his bid. So what's the strategy?
Well, meeting different groups in the open is different from meeting different groups in private, and soliciting their support and mandate also in the quiet. Our strategy is not to just advertise before you even implement the strategy. Our portion is to implement the strategy to generate the results for us. So it is not a case that we have not been in contact with delegates in the upcoming election. It is just that we have met a lot of people, we have compared with them, we have solicited their support, and some of them are already been working for us. But again, this is only just the beginning. You know that when we have not declared our Dr. Bryan Acheampong in the latest bill was created as second only one person. And having declared for our bid now and the plan that we have to go to prison, meet with the delegates, I'm sure that in the next month or so, you will see that the situation will have been very different. We know that we are starting as probably the second as the latest opinion poll, but in about a month, we are very sure to regain and recover the grounds and be in the lead.
You are starting the race with spiritual fortification, but then should elections be held in the next few months, what percentage win are you looking forward to raking?
All that I can say in response to your question is that we are getting ready to win. We have started the race, and we will definitely win. But I cannot put figures to it. We'll win and win well. And you see, starting with the status that and the numbers that we have, it's only the reason that the numbers will appreciate, and in due course, we will be in the lead.
But are you threatened by your other opponents?
How would we be threatened when we have started with our belief in God, having obtained the fortification and the spiritual guidance and the blessing of the Lord to start a journey that takes us to nearly 8 months. Victory is only waiting for us. So I will not be intimidated by anybody's presence. Neither am I going to consider how strong somebody is. We are going to develop our own strength and market that. And we are very hopeful that in the course of the interaction with the people, they will understand our message and they will understand our brand and they will go with us. And, you know, they are also going to be our ambassadors. So not only are such people going to vote for us, they are also going to propagate the gospel of Bryan Acheampong. And in the Lord, we have faith and we have hope that at the end of the day, we will be victorious.
Now, Bryan Acheampong played a key role in Wuntumi's release, securing him that much-needed bail. And you were also lawyer for Wuntumi. Is Wuntumi on your camp?
I wouldn't be able to say so at this point in time. But there is a saying that says, one good turn deserves another. So it is my expectation that Chairman Wuntumi will recognize the role that Dr. Bryan Acheampong played in his political life and reward him appropriately.
But you have other contenders willing to snatch him. Won't you solidify things here and now? Tell me exactly, is Wuntumi in Bryan Acheampong's camp?
Well, if you want to find out where he is, I'm sure he is the best person to, raise the conversation with. But what I can say is that Chairman Wuntumi, as I know, did appreciate what Dr. Bryan Acheampong did for him. And indeed, he paid a courtesy call on him to express his appreciation. And I'm sure that, having seen what he has done for you, it only stands to reason that you return the goodwill.
But you're very close to him. Are other camps making advances at Wuntumi?
Well, it will be surprising if other camps don't make the move. But it depends on where his heart will be. And I am sure that at the end of the day, his heart will be for Dr. Bryan Acheampong at the end of the day. But he will be the rightful person to confirm this belief.
But let's look at your campaign schedule. We know that Bryan has been meeting some chiefs and what have not. What's next on the radar and what exactly have they been telling him?
You said Bryan has done what? I'm
told that Bryan has been engaging some chiefs in the area just to declare his position and his decision to run for the flag bearership race.
With all stakeholders.
Okay.
Indeed, chieftaincy, yes, we are touching base with the chiefs. In religion, we are touching base with the religious leaders. And in universities, we are touching base with the students. Okay. So I'm very sure that by the time Dr. Bryan Acheampong goes round within the month, the story will be different.
Okay. Thank you so much, Andy Apiakubi, from the camp of Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Officially, he will be declaring his decision to run for that flag bearership race. We're told within the next 10 years, but he's already engaging key individuals that he feels can help him, solidify his stance in the party. He's been meeting with some of the pastors who have declared some strong prayers for him as he starts the race. But let me finalize with Dr. Asa Asante as we look at the internal race and the quest to win power in 2028. Is one thing to decide that you're in the race and the people in terms of the New Patriotic Party can decide to give you a nod. But then how do you feel the contest would be in 2028 where you have two political parties against themselves this time? Do you think the NPP stands a chance?
It's early days yet.
Okay.
But remember that you are talking about political parties in Ghana. There are only two dominant ones.
Yeah.
The rest are what? Minor parties. So it's either NDC or MPP.
Yeah.
But MPP has records, and then they will stand on it to campaign. In Ghana, election is driven by records. That is a fact. NDC is also associated with a lot of records, and they are in government. Incumbency advantage is also there. And they are also working. We are here to see the details of their performance and all that. But so far, so good. That aside, what really moves election in Ghana is nothing but what bread and butter issue, the economy. So we want to see among the two parties, which of them has what it takes to turn the economic fortunes round, to make people smile and have means of livelihood. That is a game changer. And I expect that the two parties will have to work on that and come and convince us as to who we need to give our mandate to 2028.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asante, a political analyst. Join us here on The Pulse. Well, the campaign of Dr. Yaw Osei-Odichum, former Minister for Education and Member of Parliament for Obusuntri constituency, for the New Patriotic Party flag bearership position is gaining momentum in the Ashanti region. A group of traders at the railway market in Kumasi has publicly endorsed Dr. Odichum's bid, signaling growing support for his candidacy. Nana Yaujima has more in the following report.
The declaration by Dr. Yaw Osei-Odichum has received widespread commendation, with the market women being the latest to solicit support for the lawmaker. At a press conference, the traders gave various reasons for their choice, with the performance as Education Minister taking center stage.
Obaba Deputy Education Minister, substantive minister.
We all saw his performance as a deputy education minister. Many clamored for him to be made a minister, and it came through. He placed emphasis on STEM, and his knowledge in education is unparalleled.
Because we be near to free Ghana, I got to America. Not to me, I could be a school, I can see me and so I'm a school, not a tomb, America, buy a bona, but not just say Papano or when him there.
Delegates in only a ceremony.
The delegates shouldn't think of their selfish interests. The country should be put first, and Dr. Odichum is the right person.
Said your man, you bet the and ulti and a family, Jinaha, Yabo. Say Yaw Odichum Abaso.
Yeka. What the buy, and Colay, and Shusha, as I said, Unagan and Yakramonia Shushan. Will be adding about
Nana Akufo-Addo aimed at ensuring all our children attend secondary school, and Dr. Odichum made the dream a reality.
Mammy, let the grass up in your back and Nana do the policy pamus or the bar. Bedio man penny, no. I'm password was say ya warrior. I must sabi, if you be a murama, 1 year crano. Dr.
Odichum assumed the role of Education Minister in the previous NPP government's second term, overseeing the program when students' population had increased. Under his watch as Minister, technical and vocational education and training became an area of interest for the government. In the period, some innovations were implemented to revamp the TVET sector, including the introduction of various career pathways such as pre-engineering courses for non-science students. Already, the NPP presidential candidate for the 2024 general election, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who served as vice president under Akufo-Addo administration, is in the race to be re-elected. Other personalities like Kennedy Acheampong and Bryan Acheampong have declared intentions to contest. For Joy News, Nana Yaujima, Kumasi.
Away from politics, the Ghana Education Service is asking picketing teachers to remain patient and cooperate with it, as it is working closely with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance to solve current impasse between them. Well, a group of newly trained teachers on Monday, we know, picketed the GES headquarters in Accra, demanding payment of salary arrears spanning more than 10 months. GES, in a statement, said a technical committee, including representatives from the aggrieved teachers, has been set up to improve communication and coordination through the resolution process. We'll get details of that statement from GES shortly, but first, let's listen to some of the teachers who picketed the ministry earlier.
In front of the Ministry of Education with the newly posted teachers from the colleges of education. They picketed at the ministry yesterday, and they're still here. They didn't get any response from the ministry. Some of them slept here last night through to this morning, and they're still here. We want to engage and find out from them the situation so far, whether they've heard from the leadership, from the ministry, or what is the way forward. So first of all, your name and how has it been so far? You slept here last night?
Yeah, we slept here last night. First of all, my name is David Ofusudako, and I'm part of the leadership of our colleagues who do not have staff IDs, who have been working for the past 10 months without salaries or any allowance or anything. So we've been here. Yesterday, we submitted an official petition to the Ghana Education Service. The PRO accepted it on behalf of the Director General. A copy of this petition, we sent that of the Ministry of Education DS to them, and they've also accepted or received it. We are hoping to hear from the minister. We're hoping to hear that some actions have been taken regarding the petition we sent to them.
But yesterday, when you sent the petition to them, what actually was entailed in the petition that you gave them?
Oh, actually, what was entailed is simple. We've been working for 10 months. We're going through some kind of hardship. Yeah. We rented just a year, and then our rent will be due in September because we went last year, September. And then as of now, we do not have monies to renew even our rent. By September, if we do not have money, we don't think we can still be opposed because our landlords will be chasing us out. Some of us have arrears or some debt to pay regarding utility bills in our various homes. Me in question, I owe about 7 months of electricity bill, which is not good. So we are here to tell them we're going through a lot. We cannot take it anymore. We're here to demand our staff IDs and salaries.
You just become traumatized in the sense that when you recall the kind of pain you've gone through from college up to this level, and you still kind of depend on parents and other people for survival, is so disturbing. So we always ponder on this, and it becomes so sad. Going to school becomes so difficult to even deliver to the learners. So we hope that out of this, there's a good outcome.
These are the demands from these teachers, and just as they said, they're not leaving the premises until they get a positive feedback from the Ministry of Education. Reporting for Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
My colleague Jacqueline interacting with some of the aggrieved teachers. But on your screens now is coming up is that statement from GES, just highlighting some of the key things they've done so far. It states that GES wishes to update the affected teachers and general public on the efforts underway to resolve the situation. They go on to state some of the key things they're doing when it comes to the inherited issue. They say that currently, GES management inherited the challenge of an expired financial clearance, which directly impacted the timeline process of these teachers' salaries. The clearance, which permitted their payment, expired on the 31st of December 2024. It goes on to say that despite inheriting this situation, GES has been working diligently to secure a new financial clearance. And they go on to state that they are pleased to confirm that the Ministry of Finance has made a budgetary provision for these teachers and others in 2025 national budget. They go on to state they are optimistic that the necessary funds will be released soon. No timeline there, but soon, to facilitate these payments. And we have GS in the studio, so we'll be putting the question to them as to exactly what that timeline is. Now, when it comes to collaborative resolution, they go on to state that to fast-track the resolution process, a technical committee has been formed, including 5 representatives from the affected teachers. This committee is actively collaborating with GES management and has already made significant progress. They go on to state that while we are committed to resolving the issue, the GES appeals for coordinated, unified and consistent representation from the teachers. The frequent emergence of new groups with shifting leadership makes it challenging to track concerns effectively and ensure progress. And we'll put that question to him in the studio as we look at some of the key concerns being raised by GES. They are worried about the front of the striking unions and some of the key challenges they are facing is that they have different leadership coming up at different time, making it challenging to track the concerns effectively. Let's move on. Now, when it comes to teacher welfare, they're going to state that the current leadership of GS has made teacher welfare and career progress a top priority. Since assuming office, we are dedicated to ensuring that all staff are appropriately placed and compensated for their invaluable contribution. To date, over 50,000 teaching and non-teaching staff have received their due promotions, been placed on appropriate salary scales, and are receiving their corresponding entitlement. They go on to state that work is also ongoing to process the long overdue promotions of teachers due for rank of deputy director, many of whom have been on the same rank for over 10 years. Well, let's broaden the conversation here on the Pulse. Joining me in the studio is Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service, Daniel Fain. We appreciate your time here on the Pulse.
Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Let's start with some of the key concerns being raised by the teachers and how you're looking to address it. You say you inherited an expired, what's the term you use in your statement?
Clearance.
Clearance. And then where are you so far based on your statement? You say you're already working on it. So where are you?
Okay, so indeed, I should confirm that the management of Ghana Education Service has clarity on the concerns of our dear teachers.
Okay.
Their concerns are primarily two. Number one is that their salaries should be paid them. And then two, there are a couple of the teachers whose staff IDs have not been generated for them. So these are the two primary concerns of our teachers. We understand their issue, we understand their concerns. In fact, as we have already stated, we inherited this challenge. So these are colleges of education teachers who were recruited last year. In fact, even reported to duty in September 2024. And then by December, 9,000, so there were 12,807 in all who were recruited from the colleges of education. By December 2024, 9,950 had received their staff IDs and their salaries. So for them, they do not have any issues. They are currently at their various places of posting, working strongly for the country. But there are some remaining issues, outstanding issues. One is that 2,113 of these teachers received their staff IDs but could not get their salaries paid to them as of the end of December 2024. And then 582 of them did not receive their staff IDs and then did not receive their salaries. Unfortunately, the clearance that gave permission for them to be recruited and have their salaries paid to them expired in December 2024.
Are you referring to the 500 that didn't even have their IDs or the lump sum?
The 500 and then the 2,130 who had their staff IDs but could not get their salaries.
Oh, I see.
Yes. And so we inherited it and we came with the orientation that governance is continuum. So once you inherit anything, positive or negative, you accept it and work with it. So we accepted it. So the first step we took was that we as management wanted to understand why some were paid and others were not paid, why some of them have received their staff IDs and others have not received their staff IDs. So between March 7th to 14th, we conducted a validation exercise across the entire country just to understand the issues pertaining to the salary and the staff IDs. After the exercise, we realized that there were a couple of issues. So one of it is that, of course, there are genuine administrative delays and processes that caused the salaries of our dear teachers. So from the part of government, there were genuine delays that caused the salaries. Then again, we also realized that apart from the administrative delays, there were a couple of concerns with inconsistencies with SNIT numbers that some of the teachers provided. So, you know, when you are recruited, you are asked normally to provide your documents, your SNIT number, your Ghana card IDs, and some other document. We realized that for some of the SNIT numbers that were provided, there were inconsistencies with the numbers. So back and forth, go and correct it, go and put this number here and all that caused the delay. Then we also realized that for some of the teachers to issue with Ghana card ID, inputting the correct ID number and all that was also a challenge. We also found that for some of the teachers, they wanted reposting. So some of them they didn't like the district, the school, sometimes the region they were posted, and so some of them wanted reposting. So back and forth, go and change this place, go and change this document. By the time they realized, they were all lumped into the delay process. And we came to inherit all these issues. So with clear understanding of why some delays had happened and what must be done, we decided that, okay, once we have the understanding, now you, the aggrieved teachers, give us some of your people, call them leaders. And then management of GES would also bring our leaders so that the two parties will fashion how solution could be, or agreement could be reached.
That's the 5 members that you prescribed that would be part of the committee.
Yes, they were.
And they have given you the list.
Yes. This should be somewhere around April. So we are dealing with the processes leading up to this stage. And so the leadership, together with GES management, have been working hand in hand to address the issues. Beyond that, we also went a step further to quickly get in touch with the Ministry of Finance through the Ministry of Education. I mean, that's the sector ministry we work directly with. And so we got to the Ministry of Finance, and Dr. Atoforsen told us that he clearly understands the issues. He has a clear mind on what exactly is happening. So we are fortunate that he made provision for us in the budget, the 2025 budget.
So the money is on standby?
Yes. Now, so these are the processes we have taken so far. Now, what we are waiting for is the specific clearance that will give us the authorization to pay the salaries of our dear teachers. And for those who had challenges with their staff IDs, about 582 of them, also help them to get their staff IDs. For them to, they have gone through almost all the necessary documentation processes, i.e. submitting their document to the district level submitting to regional level submitting. So they have also gone through the processes, and they are only waiting for their staff IDs to be generated for them. And these are the conversations we have had. Now, what seems to be a little challenge that we have observed as Ghana Education Services, that at almost every point in time, new groups of teachers, new faces, new leadership come up. And so it looks as though nothing has been done so far, because sometimes the leaders we dealt with in April, by the time you realize another set of leaders have also come up with their members, new faces, and then it looks as though we are going back and forth with the conversation. But our dear teachers should be rest assured that the processes are far advanced, and that their salaries will be
made available. I'm just looking at the statement you put out, and you say that you are far advanced in terms of your engagement and how you plan to ensure that you solve the issue with the expired financial clearance. Do you have a timeline to that? When exactly will this be sorted out?
All right. So, of course, what happens with the timeline is that there are about 4 parties involved in this whole conversation. The aggrieved teachers themselves, a very important party, the Ghana Education Service, another important party, the Ministry of Education, and then the Ministry of Finance. These are parties working together to bring some finality to the issues. And so it becomes difficult when only one party is pushed to give some strict timelines and deadlines to some of the activities we have taken. Of course, we need to have conversations and then continuous engagement with all these other important parties to be able to. However, what we can assure our teachers, and we have actually communicated this with them, that's why they have left the premises.
Okay.
Because they
are aware of these steps you are taking.
Yes. And so what we can assure them is that because budgetary allocation has already been made, at least it gives the impression that the money is
there. They just have to sort out these petty issues.
Yes, and so very, 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 very soon they should expect.
Very soon, you would agree with me, is not a timeline. 1 month, 2 weeks? Give me a timeline.
That's a conversation that should be had among all the interest parties that are Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, the aggrieved teachers themselves, and the Ghana Education Service. So we can assure of very, very soon, yes.
Okay. Before I let you go, just 1 minute, I can see the last paragraph in your statement. You say that you're working to ensure that the promotion process for teachers who are long overdue for the rank of Deputy Director is underway. They've been on the backlog for more than 10 years.
Yes, in fact, not only 10 years. So there are some who go far above 10, others to not up to 10. But what we came to realize is that there are certain ranks in the Ghana Education Service. Once you get there, it's assumed that you are supposed to occupy an office. So if there is no fiscal office for you to occupy, then you are kept at your current rank till there is a fiscal space for you. The current government believes that that ideology should not work. If people have worked and deserve their promotions, give to them. Because after all, some people would love to be deputy directors, assistant directors, and still be in the classroom, not necessarily going to some office or some fiscal structure to work with. As typical of the university structure, you could go to a university and you find a professor who is a lecturer. No portfolio, no office, but is a lecturer and happily working. Why can't we replicate the structure with the Ghana Education Service? So we don't believe that people should be made to get stuck at one place just because we are waiting for a fiscal office for them. And so for those affected individuals, we are working strongly. You know, before you could go to your next promotion, we'd have to go through interview processes, I mean, as typical of every other sector, go through interviews and then all that. So we are processing all of them. We don't believe that they should be stuck. They should be promoted to their deserved ranks, and we are taking them through the necessary process to get their promotions.
I appreciate your time here on The Pulse. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service with me, Daniel Fame, just giving us updates on that. It's a good time for me to take you now to Parliament. The Speaker is on the floor. Let's listen in.
When did you conclude the hearings of the committee?
The vetting of the report or?
The public hearing?
Yes, Friday.
Friday?
Yes.
Friday, okay.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
That's okay. Mr. Speaker, by Wednesday, we had done 6 judges, and the report on the 6 judges were ready and distributed for our comment. So, Mr. Speaker will recall that whilst we are in your office, we started going through the reports. So, Mr. Speaker, on Friday, it was only 1 judge that was vetted owing to a petition that the committee has addressed. So, for me, what was left was the consideration of the report of the single judge vetted on Friday. And Mr. Speaker, when the report of the single judge was produced, copy was given to the minority leader, and in minority leader's own handwriting, he made comments that comment should be integrated. And Mr. Speaker, that comment was integrated.
Yes,
and because it was in his own handwriting.
First Deputy Speaker, yes, we heard you on that one. So let me listen to the Deputy Minority Leader. I think you are a member of the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would agree with both contributors that we had a discussion on the report. And at a point in time, we came up with suggestions as to the format in which the report was to be taken. After a series of questions from the Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, we all agree that, yes, what the Honorable Minority Leader is indicating must be incorporated in the report. But before dispersing from the meeting, there was a clear understanding that after inserting the preliminary comments and the suggestion that was written,
Honorable members.
Yes.
Yes, honorable members, we all heard her. Please.
Honorable.
Yes, please continue.
The minority leader pleaded, and it was accepted, that after the incorporation of the suggestions in the report should be reverted back to him, and then he will have a last look at it, and then be ascertained that it is the full capture of what he indicated before it is signed and accepted by all of us. I'm here to learn that even though the minority leader, whatever he wrote was incorporated, it was never sent back to him. It was sent back to him. He made an input. He made an input correcting a statement that was not right. So once he has made that input, I believe that we all agree that it is only when all these things are corrected before it can be signed and presented for laying. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to beg of you. I think we are all trying to build consensus in everything that we do. Dialogue is the most important thing. We have dialogue with the chair, and if he's not going to agree to what we are suggesting, it is not a right position of the minority. And therefore, it is very important that what we want to express out there must be clearly stated. So I would like to plead with you, Mr. Speaker, that give us a little more chance to go through the report again, and then by the agreement of the committee members, then we will represent on the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I don't think we have to continue this exchanges. It's not a debate, but we are governed by rules. And Order 215 gives us an indication of how reports of committees should be not only adopted by the committee, but also presented to the House. And 215 says that the deliberations and recommendations of a committee shall be presented to the House in the form of a committee, of a report. Honorable Dr. 2152 says, the committee shall consider and adopt the report prior to the presentation of the report to the House. And the report shall be signed by the chairperson and the clerk to the committee. With specific reference to the Appointments Committee, 21711 says the committee shall report to Parliament within 3 days after the conclusion of proceedings of the committee when Parliament is sitting. Honorable members, please, when you are dealing with serious matters of this nature, you don't keep on conversing as if you are in the market square. Please. After listening to the information from the members of the committee, the chair, the ranking, and a senior member, the deputy minority leader. I think some of what you refer to, I'm aware of, because you even sought my assistance in some of these matters in my conference room and went through them together. We thought we had settled them. Now they are being rehashed. I don't think that is proper. When we are talking about a report of a committee, we are talking about the whole committee. We're not talking about individuals inserting things to suit their understanding of a report of the committee. Whatever you have to say, you can say it here on the floor as part of your contributions to the deliberations of the House. I will give you enough time to say it. We cannot expect the report to capture everything. Please, you will not be prevented from saying what you want to say. But when we talk about the report, we are talking about the report capturing the decision of the whole committee. That is what we are looking at. So please, I think the report is properly before the House, and it will be presented, and it will be taken by this House today. So please, Chairman of the committee, you may proceed to do so now.
Report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency the President's nominations for appointments as Justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana.
Honorable members, the report of the Appointments Committee has been presented to the House. It's now for distribution to all members of Parliament. Yes, any other business?
Mr. Speaker, we will take motion number 11, which is, it's not a motion, Mr. Speaker. Item 11, which is presentation and first reading of bills and some communication from the Minister for the Interior. Item 11, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, item 11, presentation and first reading of bills, public holidays and commemorative days amendment bill 2025. Minister for Interior.
An act to amend the Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Act 2001, Act 601, to provide for Shark Day and the first day of July as statutory public holidays and for related matters.
Honorable members, the Public Holidays and Commemorative Days Amendment Bill 2025 has been presented to the House and referred to the Committee on Interior, and I will add Defense and the leadership of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs. They are already part of it. Yes, Committee on Defense and Interior with leadership of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs. Yes, I can see the minister on his feet. Majority Leader, let me listen to the minister first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I had indicated to your good servant, the leadership, that this was to be taken under certificate of urgency. And I thought that when the leader was
gotten the permission for me to lay, he would have indicated or given me the opportunity to do so. So I wanted to draw your attention that this was an urgent bill that needed to go to certificate of urgency through all the stages today. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
You may need to convince us why it's an urgent bill.
Mr. Speaker, yes. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, what is it on? Just a minute, just a minute. Yes, let me listen to him, whatever it is. Let's listen. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, the application was made and the paper was duly laid. The referral was made to a committee that brought a closure to that application. Mr. Speaker, the minister now gets to his feet to direct government business and to make a suggestion that the leader of government business should have proceeded in a certain manner. He is one person who has been talking about rules, that we should be guided by our rules. Mr. Speaker, he got up to now attempt to direct affairs without reference to any rules. Mr. Speaker, they are against certain precedents being set. If there's a new precedent that after a paper has been laid, the minister can now come through back door to make an application that the leader of government business should have incorporated certain things in his application, and that was not done. So he is now moving it. Mr. Speaker, let that precedent become part of this house. Because, Mr. Speaker, this is a minister who is on record to have insisted on the rules. Mr. Speaker, he must comply with the very rules that he insists must be complied with.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the rules are very clear that bills presented to this House must be gazetted. When the bill is not gazetted and it is presented to this House, it is clear indication that it is coming as an urgent bill. It is. The rules are clear. The rules are clear. Mr. Speaker, let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders. Let me read the standing orders, Mr. Speaker. Let me read the standing orders. Order 159, presentation of bills and gazette notification, subject to the Constitution and except as provided for in Order 160 and 162, a bill shall not be introduced in the House unless the bill has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of the introduction of the bill. Then 160 says that the sponsor may submit a bill to Parliament without publication in the Gazette where the sponsor of the bill considers the bill to be of an urgent nature. To the extent that he has not published it in the Gazette, he intends that it comes as a bill which is of an urgent nature. Mr. Speaker, our rules provide for any person laying a paper after the paper has been laid to then make a statement explaining. And that was what I was expecting, that after he had laid the bill, then he will now mention that it is of an urgent nature because it has not been gazetted. Then we will now refer it to the committee. Mr. Speaker, the reason why, the fact that it has been referred to a committee doesn't mean that the committee is not supposed to exercise its responsibilities under Order 160. The committee, in considering it, will also have to come provide an explanation why it is urgent. But Mr. Speaker asks a question. Why is it urgent? It is urgent because it is meant to regulate public holidays. And we have a public holiday coming in a few days' time, Mr. Speaker. In a few days' time. In a few days' time, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we need to have this bill taken under a certificate of urgency so that the law can be in place for us to be able to enforce the public holiday which is coming in a few days' time, Mr. Speaker. So I urge you, Mr. Speaker.
Live interaction there from Parliament, where the majority is pushing for the public holidays bill to be amended under the certificate of emergency. They want to make key changes when it comes to the upcoming holiday, which is 1st of July. We'll take you live to Parliament now. My colleague James Aveji is on standby. But just before this happened, the Speaker adopted that report by the Appointments Committee that has been vetting the 7 Supreme Court judges nominee. But before that happened, there were a lot of back and forth on the floor. Walk us through it.
So, Fosti, that is, if you look at the other paper of Parliament for the proceedings today, top on the agenda has been the presentation and adoption of the report of the Vetting Committee of Parliament on the 7 judges who have been vetted in the last week, from Monday to Wednesday and then on Friday. The minority leader, after the Speaker indicated that the report should be presented, rose to his feet, Alexander Acheampong, objecting to the laying of the report. His position has been that they, the minority, haven't had their input into the report, and so the House shouldn't adopt the report. It is one-sided. The minority hasn't signed it, and so the Speaker should reject the laying, pleading on him to allow the chairman of the committee, Bryan Acheampong, to go back and seek the views of the minority, inculcate that or include that into the final report before it is put before the House. Then the minority, the chairman of the committee, Bryan Acheampong, in response to his position or objection, indicated that the position of the minority leader, Alexander Acheampong, who is also the ranking member on the committee, is not true, and that the committee had taken a decision on the first 6 nominees who they have vetted from Monday to Wednesday. You remember they did 3 of the nominees on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, and then 1 on Wednesday, where we had the indefinite suspension of the vetting of the 7th nominee, which upon a petition which was cleared and vetted on Friday. And so he indicated that as far as the first 6 nominees are concerned, the committee had taken a decision on them as at Wednesday at the end of the vetting process. And so the only one left was the Friday vetting, which was carried out. And so even as at that, when the final report of the committee was prepared, the minority leader then sent him an official note which he terms as his preliminary comment on the vetting process, which the minority leader Alexander Acheampong insisted should be included in the report. That the chairman, Bryan Acheampong, indicated that he accepted and included in the report, only for them to come for another meeting this morning on the final outcome of the report, for the minority leader to insist that he's got an update of that preliminary comment, insisting that they should include that again in the report. That is where the chairman, Bryan Acheampong, indicated that he objected to it. In fact, it has not been the precedent that members of the committee, either in the leadership, will present a preliminary comment own a report before it is put out there, and so he has been benevolent to include the first preliminary comment and that he would not accept the second one. So that was the clarification he gave. Then the the deputy minority leader, who is also the deputy ranking on the committee, Madam Patricia Acheampong, also rose to her feet to bring to the attention of the speaker that, in fact, the second comment, which was sent to the chairman by Acheampong, has been a correction of some comments and views he made in the first preliminary comment, which he believes have not been captured well, which he has corrected, and he was insisting that the correction been effected in the final report. And so it is not anything new he was introducing into the report, and so was asking the speaker to give them some more time to go and work on that and come back. But the speaker finally ruled that as far as he's concerned and the orders of the House are concerned, the reports are supposed to be prepared and signed by the chairman of the committee and the clerk to the committee. And so if those two people have their signatures on the report, there is nothing wrong with it, and so allow that the report should be laid. And so it has been laid. The indication we are getting is that it may be treated today, and possibly the final report will be passed, which would mean that the House may approve the 7 nominees by close of day today. And this discussion that is ongoing about the public holidays may also go through today. And so we're looking forward to how all of those pan out in the course of the proceedings. Faustina.
Just before I let you go, James, within a minute, just tell me what has been discussed on the floor and why the majority is pushing for the bill to be laid before the House under certificate of emergency, that amendments they are proposing to a public holidays bill.
The minority said they have made some observations about that particular bill, and that they feel that it is not a bill that should be taken under a certificate of urgency, which would mean that if the speaker admits that it should go under certificate of urgency, the public holidays amendment bill will be passed today. That is what the minority is objecting to. They feel that it should go back to the committees to run through and make the necessary corrections. And so we're looking forward to what the speaker's ruling will be on that. And then we'll see whether they will accept it and treat it in the course of today, or it will go back to the committee for some corrections as well.
Coming all the way from Parliament Live. Well, you're still watching The Pulse. When we come back, we'll give you the conversation with the National Identification Authority. As you may be aware, they have gone on an indefinite strike, which is the Public Sector Workers Union of NIA, and we'll be discussing what exactly this means for the operations after this return.